Before we start, my name is Kelly Velasquez. This is my Link Crew Leader application. I apologize for the background noise. The challenge I faced this school year was adapting. Before this, I had been to a school with basically the same 90 kids for 9 years, and so suddenly being thrown into a school with 2,000 people was really weird for me. I managed to get used to it, but it was pretty bad. And that's why the biggest thing I had struggled to adapt to was the expectations of me. Before the school year, I had basically never gotten anything below an A. It was just standard for me to get an A. I had been told my work was above average by basically every teacher I had known. And when I joined the GATE program, I received my first C grade. I couldn't do well like that. I would take this C and all I saw was just fail, fail, fail. I tried to put in all the work I could and it just wouldn't work. I couldn't get anything above a C. And I ended up in the hospital. And the only thing that snapped me out of this mindset was seeing my grade after I turned in late work because I was in the hospital, which half of the credit was taken off because I had been in the hospital and it didn't really count. And I saw that and I kind of just laughed. And at that point, I accepted that it wasn't totally my fault. I wasn't stupid all of a sudden. It was just the teacher was strict. If even a hospital trip couldn't change anything, then it couldn't possibly be all my fault. The lesson I learned here was not to take everything personally. This teacher wasn't out to get me. She's just a really hard teacher. And since then, I've gotten straight A's on my semester grade and every quarter after that. So it really was just a struggle. I talked to other students and they said they had a struggle with the first quarter as well. And it made me feel a lot better. A leader I look up to in my life is definitely my mom. I know that's a basic answer, but it has to be my mom. She had a pretty rough childhood and made a few mistakes in high school, but she still managed to make her way through college. She had gotten jobs and raised a kid, and it was just super inspiring to me because it's anytime I face a challenge or I make a mistake, I know that it's not just going to stop me there. I can't let it stop me there. If my mom had all these things happen and she didn't stop and she got to where she is now, how could I let this small thing just totally affect me? The thing I would change about Arvin High is definitely what we learn about others. In certain classes, we are taught some things about different people, but that doesn't really do anything because it's only brief and not explained properly. And this has an obvious consequence. A lot of the students at the school are not educated, so they act in bad ways against students who are different from them. They usually grow up around people who are the exact same as them, and so seeing these different people with mental illness or disabilities or people with different sexualities or race, they didn't know how to treat them. They weren't educated properly. And so I think that the school should definitely look into being able to teach these students more about other people instead of letting them believe that they should have the right to be able to make fun of these people because they don't understand them. We see this a lot when the students get bullied and they try to go to the principal and it doesn't really have anything happen because they can't punish one student when it's all of them. And so I think that if we started educating the school, or the students at the school, that we could really change things. The toughest experience freshmen have to deal with is definitely meeting and losing people. In a school with 2,000 people, you aren't going to keep the same friends you had in middle school, even if you made a promise that you were going to stay with them. It's basically impossible. And students don't know this. The incoming freshmen come in expecting that they're going to stay with these people that they've known all their lives. And suddenly, they're gone. It's a really big shock knowing that you have to meet other people after only having had this close circle of friends. And some students can't adapt to this. They're stuck alone because they couldn't figure out how to deal with meeting new people. It's really tough as a freshman having to learn that these people aren't always going to stay. And I think Link Crew could help by introducing these students to each other before or the first day of the school year, letting these students get to know other students before they have to suddenly go to school one day with different people. Getting the students to be able to introduce each other, to introduce themselves to each other, that could definitely help. And I think Link Crew does a pretty good job with that. As good of a job as they can at the beginning of the year when putting them in groups of people with their Link Crew leaders. But I feel there is a little more that could be done, but still, if we help introduce the freshmen, then they don't have to go through as much of a shock as they would. An idea I want to contribute to Link Crew is some kind of mid-year rally, but for the freshmen. In this rally, the freshmen, it can be split up in an A-B thing, because the orientation we had was split into last names. The orientation was split into A. Oh my god. So in the mid-year rally, we can get these freshmen and we can split it up, and they can meet back up with their Link Crew leader. And once they talk to their Link Crew leader again, they can play a game or something. But this rally is more focused on the Link Crew leaders asking how their year has went so far, and I think that this can definitely help, because not only will the freshmen remember that they have a Link Crew leader who they can come to, they also know that they have somebody who cares about how they're doing at this school. They know that at least one person cares. And this can also help Link Crew, because this will also give us information on how the school year is going for these freshmen and what the freshmen kind of want from this point, what they need. So this idea will help the current freshmen knowing that they have a place to go to and a person to go to, but it'll also help the future years, since we now have more information to help the future years and what can be changed to stop the issues that the freshmen have had at that point. Thank you. That was it.